Hello everyone, I'm Rosie Roselle with Calle Ocho News, and welcome to another edition of Calle Ocho News Conversations. Today we're joined by Mayor Eileen Higgins to discuss important issues impacting the city of Miami. Mayor Higgins, thank you for joining us today.
Rosie, it's always great to see you and chat about everything for Calle Ocho News.
It's been a while already.
Yeah.
I was there throughout the whole time that you were commissioner, and it makes me proud to see you here serving as the City of Miami mayor and revamping the whole system.
It's been great. I think I'm just in month 5, so I have my sea legs, as they say, and really the team here, we're off to a great start. We've been innovating, looking at new ways to do business. How do we act to help our residents and just become more efficient? I think everybody knows the city wasn't exactly the most efficient place they've ever seen.
Are you excited to be the City of Miami's mayor during such an exciting time, such as the FIFA World Cup and all of the attention that's being drawn to Miami at the time?
Yeah, it's an amazing time for us. We've got a lot going on. We continue to have so much momentum about attracting new businesses and business sectors here, which can provide the high-paying jobs we have always needed here, right? You know, we've always been a tourism sector, and it's fun to be in the tourism business, but those are low-wage jobs, low-service jobs. And so this is great to see that we continue to have new companies moving here and wanting to open their headquarters in Miami. The other thing about World Cup is it gives us an opportunity to just showcase for over 23 days, particularly City of Miami, we're hosting Fan Fest. Not everybody has the money, to go up and get a ticket to the World Cup matches.
And that's at Bayfront Park?
Yeah, so Fan Fest in the City of Miami, 23 days, opens on June 13th, totally free. And we're going to be showing every match, doesn't matter where it is in the United States, so you can come wear your team's jersey. There'll be all kinds of things for families, for kids, for visitors, concerts, games, and it'll be a way that you can have that beautiful World Cup FIFA experience, even if you can't afford to head up to the stadium to see a game. So it's all a very exciting time period. But in all of this, it's not all fun and games in the City of Miami, right? We do in our town have people that struggle to make ends meet on housing and housing affordability. And we talked about all these great companies that are coming here. We still need to make sure we have robust workforce development programs that pipeline our people into those high-paying jobs and careers. So that's a big part of the focus of things that I'm working on.
Speaking of things you're working on over the next year, what are your top priorities? And does that fall into one of the top ones?
Yeah, there's a couple of buckets, and one is foundational. And I know it sounds boring and nerdy to talk about permitting, but the permitting system in the City of Miami has a reputation for being pretty abysmal, slow, bureaucratic. Not particularly responsive, not just to residents, but also to affordable housing builders and to small businesses that are trying to open. And so that has been a key focus. And within the first month, the city manager and I have stood up a whole different process to begin accelerating permitting. And why does permitting matter? Let's say you and I decided we were going to build an affordable housing building today, 100 units, let's say. We go through planning and zoning, that would take 2 to 3 years, and then would take 2 to 3 years to get permits. So we wouldn't break ground on that housing for about 5 years. And that's locking people out of their homes. So when we accelerate everything in the bureaucratic process here in the city, we're actually building affordable housing. Same thing, our streets, climate change, it's real. We got rougher seas and higher seas, and our streets flood. And we are going to need to do more flooding projects. And we do have, in some cases, the budget for them and the plans for them. But when they're sitting in permitting 2 to 3 years, that's 2 to 3 rainy seasons, right? That means your street floods. So one of the core areas of work for me is making sure our permitting system becomes more efficient. So we can get housing under construction, we can open small businesses faster, we can get our infrastructure projects built. And then importantly for homeowners, we got to stop making them crazy. Right, when they're applying for permits, right? So whether it was putting on a new door, putting hurricane windows in, a new roof, repaving your driveway, we we've launched, and it's been very successful, launched in person, now online. It's same day, no delay permits for single family homeowners on these kinds of simple projects. And so literally I saw a grown man cry as he came in and got his permit in a couple of hours.
I wonder how long he was trying.
Yeah, and he said this used to take months, if not years. And so the departments here have been working hard to really transform how we do that. And as we get more and more efficient at doing things, projects will get faster, but also importantly, they'll get less expensive. And that's part of housing affordability too.
Yeah, and it'll deter less investors.
Yep.
And attract more investors if the process is easier.
Yes, and make people comply with the code. We don't want people doing things without permits because they could do them wrong and then they could do something dangerous. We want the process to be, okay, if I apply, the city helps me, we get it done, they come and inspect us, I know that my windows are installed properly, they're not gonna fall out in a storm. And there's a reason we have permits, it's for your safety. And as a result, we need to make sure we are providing customer service. And so it's exciting to watch that evolve.
How do you want residents to remember your leadership as mayor?
Well, I want them at the end of my term to feel like they were treated as customers. I also want them to know that they're living in a city where the affordable housing crisis has abated, that we have looked at making sure we are incentivizing and construction of affordable and workforce priced housing so that the people who live and work here get to live and work here. I also want to make sure that our parks really are renovated. We have a beautiful park master plan and many of those projects are underway. And then as we spoke earlier, this idea of economic prosperity in every neighborhood, we have people all over our city and they're not necessarily connected to high-paying jobs. And so I want, when I leave the city, people to know or feel that there's economic prosperity in every neighborhood, not just in some neighborhoods in Miami.
Your office must hear a lot from different residents about different issues, from affordable housing to the flooding to police enforcement. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Miami residents?
I think it depends. There's different people have different issues, and neighborhoods are completely different, right? I can tell you when you're talking to people in Little Haiti and Liberty City and Overtown, it's good jobs in their neighborhoods, and it's more housing they can afford, right? And then you go to neighborhoods that are much more affluent, and they are much more environmentally conscious. And that is great. It's great to have people talking about multiple things, because the city's got to be able to do more than one thing at once. And as a matter of fact, we've had a great deal of advocacy around making sure we're looking at how we can plant more trees. And the city has been doing a good job. As a matter of fact, in the past 2 years, when you look at the numbers through the end of 2025, the net number of trees we've planted over the past 2 years is 70% higher in 2025 than it was in 2023. So the city's making a great initiative, but we've just stood up a tree committee to have residents really advise us on how we can do that better. Nobody wants their street to flood, so we always hear about that. And just, you know, people are good. They let us know what they're worried about, and sometimes we can get things fixed right away, and sometimes it may take a little while.
So besides making the residents' lives easier with permitting, how is your administration working to improve quality of life across Miami neighborhoods?
Well, one of the things that shocked me when I got here, which is the state of affairs in our police and fire stations. I had known the police headquarters building was in very bad shape, but I didn't realize how bad it was. And the fire stations are just literally deplorable. And the city has not built new fire stations in decades. And so one of the things that's very important in quality of life is actually response time. And we have neighborhoods, many neighborhoods in the city of Miami, where it will take 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes for an ambulance to get to you. Now, national standards are 6 minutes. You call, they're supposed to get to you in 6 minutes. And because we haven't built new fire stations or expanded the one we have or renovated the ones we have neighborhoods that are at real risk, like the North Grove, South Grove, parts of Shenandoah, huge chunks of Allapattah, the Upper East Side, as you get around, and then parts of Liberty Square, and a little bit further in the northeast. Northwest part of the city, and these fire stations, they don't even fit the fire trucks because they're so old. We have more than half of our facilities are over 50 years old. And I'm telling you, if you and I, we're sitting here now in nice chairs.
How did that happen? Was there no room in the budget for improvements to infrastructure?
I cannot explain the past. All I can tell you is the police and fire department asked for it every year, and all of the mayors in the past and the administration in the past has just ignored it. And I can't ignore it. I don't want to be a mayor of the city with these failing buildings. Our police headquarters, right now, if I want to plug in a new piece of equipment, the electrical system is so old, I got to unplug something, right? I have fire stations.
And these are the people we depend on to answer emergencies.
Keep us safe. There are fire stations where the fuse box is so old that there are no parts available. You have to go on eBay to buy the parts. And if these buildings fail,
they're obsolete.
Our emergency response fails, and our residents will be less safe. And so that's why I am proposing that we put a bond and that we let the voters decide if they would like to immediately make sure that we have the facilities in place to keep them safe, because these buildings are so old that one or more of them will fail in the next couple of years. So we'll have better response times. And I don't have to raise the bond rate, right? We have a millage that the voters have approved, but we are asking people to pay a little bit more. In the first year, it probably cost you just under $2.50 a month to support police, fire, and ambulance. Mm-hmm. And then over time, over the 30 years, it'll be an average of $10. And so we need to be truthful with the residents and say, this is a horrible situation, but life safety is at risk. And we need to be able to ask them. And so hopefully in November, the commission will put this question to the ballot. I've done a ton of polling. Over 70% of the residents of Miami said they would vote yes, even when they know it will cost them a little more, right? You can't tell them it's not going to cost. You got to tell them the facts.
Well, I mean, you have to invest in the things you care about.
Listen,
you know, people invest in their bodies. They have to invest in their community. They have to invest in their cars and their.
Yeah, all I can tell you is if I lived 12 minutes away from an ambulance, I'd be voting yes on this bond. And the statistics are pretty dire. Every minute when you're having a heart attack, your risk of dying goes up by about 10%. So it makes a big difference to make sure we get that response time down to six minutes.
Speaking of the bond,
yeah,
what guarantees can you give residents that the bond proposal will directly improve public transparency and the city?
Well, what's very different from this and the Miami Forever Bond. The Miami Forever Bond was just sort of like, we're going to do a bond, and we're going to do flooding projects, and we're going to do housing, and they weren't project specific. Now, there's been a lot of good work done. Lots of park projects have been done, flooding projects have been done under Miami Forever Bond. But I personally don't like those kind of bonds. I like to tell the residents exactly what we're going to do. Like, here's the public safety building. We're going to build a brand new public safety building, right? It's a project. Mm-hmm. We know what it's going to cost. And the reason I call it a public safety building is we're going to co-locate police headquarters, fire headquarters. We need a Cat 5 ready emergency operations center.
Like when you talk about emergency response, I think hurricane season.
Correct.
But you're thinking a heart attack.
I'm thinking it all. So, and we don't have a Cat 5 ready with all of the backup systems, emergency operations center that's co-located with police and fire. And then our 911 call center, right? That can never go down. And we have many times had to relocate our 911 call center, which is in the police headquarters building, because the police headquarters building is flooding. The police headquarters building can have raw sewage running through it from time to time. And we're taking our 911 call center, and our backup 911 call center is in a 100-year-old building. So the new public safety headquarters will have all four of these things coordinated, so you'll have much better response. And then we have a plan. There was a presentation that was given out. Each of our 17 fire stations, we know exactly which one's getting a new roof, which one's getting minor repairs, which one's getting replaced, and then we will build 4 new fire stations. And when we build those 4 new fire stations, our response time will be world-class. And so that's how the residents are going to know, because there's nothing else to add. This is a project-based bond. Like, I can tell you what we're going to do on Fire Station 10, what we're going to do on Fire Station 17, and the public safety building. So there's no ability to add or subtract projects or move money around. You'll be able to see your fire station under construction. You'll be able to watch the construction of the new public safety building. And then one of the things we are building out for transparency, and I'm having the administration build it out already for the Miami Forever Bond. If you go to the City of Miami Beach's general obligation bond website, they have a beautiful dashboard. You can track every project in every park. And so we're setting that up for Miami Forever because we have not had that level of transparency in the past in the City of Miami. And so as they're building that out, that website will be ready for the Safe and Ready Miami Bond, which is the police and fire and ambulance bond. And so you'll be able to go to this site, you'll be able to see, here's what's supposed to be happening on Fire Station 10. You know, when is it going to happen on Fire Station 10? Because obviously we'll phase this over years, but the idea is to let people know the exact projects and exact status.
What role do you believe community engagement should play in city decision making?
I mean, I think it's a lot. You know me from, all my years on the commission. One of the most fun things to do is go to the neighborhood associations, where you get really into the nitty gritty of what matters at the street level to people, and you get some of your best ideas. I certainly did, for whether it was safety projects or traffic circles or all of those things. So I think engaging neighborhood associations is very, very important, particularly when you're talking about major infrastructure projects. Sometimes you got to go door to door, and sometimes, by the way, it's hard to get community input, right? The people that tend to come to City Hall tend to be most affluent people, right? Mm-hmm. They have the most flexible schedules, they have a vehicle. And so if you want community input in other neighborhoods, you sometimes have to go to them. And out in Flagami, for example, they'll have street corner meetings. They don't have a neighborhood association, but you'll just like meet on a street corner by a park, like at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night. And that was some of the ways that I liked to do it when I was commissioner. And you see that happening, particularly with the city commissioners out in all of their 5 districts.
I imagine it's very difficult to balance growth and development while preserving Miami's character and culture. And I believe that part of that, your way of doing that, has been through the permitting process and allowing people to grow smoothly. How else are you able to probably balance those two?
So there's 2 things that I've done. We've all driven through neighborhoods where we see those horrible duplexes that are those white boxes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like them? No, they're awful, horrible. So our code, Miami 21, required them to be built that way. Yeah, you can't make this up. So
you can't
make this up. Like, really, we require people to build something ugly. So you lose all the neighborhood character in these single-family home neighborhoods, right? Mm-hmm. And there was another. I'll give you another example. Sometimes there's neighborhoods that are zoned for higher density. Right, they can have a 4-story building, a 6-story building, but then there's a small lot. And the owner was required, let's say they're putting a duplex. Mm-hmm. They could never build like 2 little side-by-side townhouses with a backyard. They were required to build that housing as if it was a commercial building with a giant asphalted parking lot in the back, not a single tree in sight. I mean, just awful. Right. What kind of kid wants to live in an apartment? There's no little backyard for them to play in. So, I have led 2 major zoning changes for single-family home neighbors to help improve neighborhood character. The first one we talked about, where you have to build commercial style even if you're building housing. Mm-hmm. In the higher density areas. It's now gentler density. You can build lower density in those areas and make them look like homes. And that should pass on Thursday. And so that's a nice, Commissioner Escalona and I worked that together because we saw that time and time again in Little Havana. We're just building these things with no green space. Mm-hmm. And they don't look like homes, right? They look like an office building rather than 2 little homes. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And then the other thing we're doing, we just went to PZAB. I'll show you some really beautiful, actually I'll show you some pretty drawings. I never want to see one of those white boxes again. And so we are introducing what's called cottage housing. So it's the same thing, it's these small lots. You still got to put 2 units. But you get the ability to make them beautiful, to have shape. Maybe they have a little porch. Maybe they have a portico. We're able, because we're doing 2 cottage homes rather than these white boxes connected, we're able to add more trees. We're actually able to increase the number of trees that are required. And again, it'll look like a neighborhood. Like imagine Coconut Grove, right? You have white box, you have Old Grove, beautiful, beautiful, charming, beautiful, beautiful, charming, white box, white box, white box, white box, beautiful, charming, charming, charming. Well, these people have never been able to use a charming style of building, and now they'll be able to. And so we just did that at the Planning and Zoning Board last week, and I should hopefully have all those changes finished before we go on summer break. So there are ways to make sure our neighborhoods have character by building housing people want to live in versus, I don't know, white boxes.
I mean, it's all about the quality of life.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of as far as accomplishments since you took office?
Well, I'm super proud of the team at the City of Miami because they really were ready to change. And I can tell you, I walked in, and there were employees here that had lists of things that they had wanted to change or improve to make the departments work better for the residents. And no one had ever said yes to them. And so that's the thing I'm most proud of, is that we have a culture at the City of Miami that is slowly but surely changing and adapting to be a learning organization where we learn and get better every week, and we're not afraid to innovate. And we are. We launched the same day, no delay permitting. We launched for commercial buildings a year-long permit so you can make repairs without opening and closing. We're testing a chat bot for code compliance. And all those things, do they work perfectly on day one? No. But learning organizations get things out there and they test and learn. And now I have a couple of large, very low income affordable housing projects in a test bucket of, can we get these things permitted in less than 2 years? Can we permit them in 100 days? I don't know if we can permit them in 100 days, but we got to try. And so we have a couple of those that we're working. So I'm proud that our team is doing all of these things. And I'm proud that they've been wanting leadership from someone that wants to make sure the city works well and works efficiently. And that's been making me pretty happy. And then we've done, some other kind of cool things to on the arts front. Obviously, we're working to get the Tower Theater back in the control of Miami-Dade College versus in the hands of people that have no business being in the arts business. So Flagler Street, another thing, 10 years Flagler Street was under construction, and we just did a whole new procurement and construction process, and are just getting that open and done.
You're still working on Flagler?
Well, we got one section done, and we got another section to be ready for FIFA. But when I got here, the original plan was none of that stuff would be done for like the next 2 to 3 years. And so the idea that that's kind of been done when we pivoted the process in 3 months. I live 2 blocks from Flagler Street. Good Lord, it's been closed for 10 years.
So what are some of the things that are being done to get ready for FIFA?
Well, okay, if you head downtown, you will see we are already building out Fan Fest.
Oh, yeah?
And so the beautiful sets are being designed, and the places where you'll get to see all the games are being designed. But that's the glitz. Behind the scenes, we have major infrastructure-y type and public safety meetings, because we're going to have a ton of people in town. And that means even our sanitation crews are going to have much more work. We're going to have beautiful activations in places like Flagler Street. We obviously are going to have all hands on decks from a public safety perspective. And we know it's summer, it can be hot, so even if you're at Fan Fest having a good time, you could still overheat. We got to make sure we have our EMTs and paramedics out there to keep you safe and get people across the street. Obviously working with the county to make sure the Metro Mover is working on time to get people. And then we'll be also, a lot of the hotels where visitors and teams are staying are in the City of Miami, so we're the public safety team. So it's a big initiative.
A big to-do, huh?
It's a big to-do for a month, because and then after Fan Fest shuts down, we've got the bronze match, which is at Hard Rock Stadium. But again, we wanted for our game to have something cool that our residents could do for free. So that night we'll be doing a huge event in our little Haiti soccer park, where the residents can come and hang out and make sure. So the City of Miami wants to make sure that our residents get to do something that is affordable, meaning free.
I heard there's going to be some lighting up of the city from a certain place to a certain
Yeah,
place.
we'll have some pink and blue and things out there.
And today they just announced that Carlos Vives is going to be at a concert on June 11th,
Yep.
2 days before everything starts.
Yeah,
So.
we have more surprises coming. I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, fine. Okay, I won't drag them out of you. But what message would you like to share with our residents about the future of the city of Miami?
Well, I think the future of the city of Miami is bright. We're a place that continues to be a magnet of welcoming behavior, whether it's for residents and people that live here. And what you can count on from your new City of Miami administration, from me as the mayor and to James Reyes and his team working every day for you, is we're going to make sure the city works for you and that you're going to feel that. It won't happen overnight, but you are going to feel that when you call City Hall, we answer the phone and we're here to help.
Mayor Higgins, thank you again for joining us today. And thank you to everyone watching Calle Ocho News Conversations. Stay connected with Calle Ocho News for more community-focused interviews and updates across Miami-Dade County.